hello, happy Thanksgiving to all the USA Ergo knots. How you doing, Christy? Good morning.
Doing well. Hi everyone. Good time to share some updates, I guess, right? And discuss some things, in the MA format.
It sure is, Christy.
And
yeah.
so we are trying different formats, right? So there was a good community call.
That was fun. Yeah, the Zoom call. Yep.
Yeah, a bit chaotic maybe, but because it's for the first time, I believe, right? So there were a lot of opinions, right, and people willing to speak. So yeah, it lasted for 1.5 hours instead of one planned, or maybe not really planned, but I don't know. I had in mind something like that. And then there will be Twitter Spaces tomorrow. Do you know about that?
Which one's that, Christy?
One with House of Chimera, so it will be announced later today.
Oh, is that the one you invited me to?
Yes, you will be there supposedly.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. And Joe also will be there. Three of us will represent and uncover Ergo to House of Chimera community, and also Ergo community is welcomed to jump.
Awesome. Okay, I'll look for that. I'll look for that announcement. We'll retweet it, get it out there too.
All right. Yeah. So we'll ask for announcement actually after the MA.
Awesome.
We are exploring different formats with different entities, let's say, around, such as House of Chimera, and there is one proof of work merged mind Bitcoin sidechain. We may have Twitter Spaces. Then maybe some Ergo only Twitter Space again, right? And then community call. So even aside of AMA, it's about very tight schedule, it seems, right? Before the new year. If we are targeting to have all of that, that's about pretty tight schedule, actually.
That is, I've heard some feedback online too that CKB wants to do another hosted space with us as well, kind of that group space. So perhaps we could do that at some point in the future too.
This year?
Maybe not this year, Christy.
Yeah, because for this year, everything is set probably, right, already.
Yeah.
Yes. So, maybe January then. Let's see.
Yeah. Cool beans. What's new, Christy?
So a lot of new things. So finally, EP50 for 6.0 soft fork proposal published. And the most let's say understandable. I don't know. So the parts which are for general public are also cross-published on the forum. It's currently just one pull request left, and the first round of reviewing already done. So I'm working on tests, and so I'm going to ping miners, right, and to get good dates for start of voting. Right. So as a reminder, Ergo is not a centralized cryptocurrency, if such term makes sense at all, even. Right, it's controlled by devs team. Every change is to be voted by miners with 90% of hash rate. Voting for is needed for approval.
Christy, can you explain briefly how that works? Like, you publish a new kind of a change code for the node, and and how specifically do miners vote on that? Just for the people watching.
Yeah, so basically they need to install the latest version or a version of the node which is supporting a new version of the protocol, right? But then the voting is still explicit, right? So they need to put a concrete value in settings. They need to find a voting section in the config file and put a certain value there, because well there is no implicit voting, right? Before there were some pools which were asked for well versions of the node with implicit voting. When it was 5.0, if my memory serves me well.
They did pre-voting, right? They didn't make a choice until individually the miners voted on their pool. Was that GitBlock that did that?
GitBlock had the individual voting, right, for the miners. Other pools just decided, right, whether to vote yes or no, and some well asked for a version with specific config, but maybe after it was voted already to have login done. So I forgotten actually, so something like that. So but yeah, well, in general, so a miner needs to put a vote for soft fork explicitly, right? For sure.
And if the some of the big pools or the other pools, even small pools, don't update their node to that, they're just left. It's essentially a totally different chain if the soft fork goes through.
Oh, so it's soft fork. So actually, they will continue to recognize blocks, and they even can mine blocks if we are talking about upcoming soft forks. But there is a chance that they can include invalid transactions, right? So, well, 5.0 and actually previous nodes will skip validations of transactions with new features, right? 6.0 features. And then if 6.0 transaction is invalid, for example, then there is chance that miner not updated will mine this invalid transaction, right, and get the block rejected by 90% of hash rate.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
That's why voting is needed, right? So you need to be sure that even if all old nodes are in the network, they cannot mine invalid transactions. That they cannot produce long enough forks, right? And that's why such big numbers, right, here, well, in the voting for critical things. Yeah, and there is forum posts which is uncovering changes proposed, such as new features, opening possibilities for actually a lot of applications. Some already shown, such as trustless Bitcoin bridge. Then lithos, then yes, certain roll-up constructions are shown to be feasible. Hash rate coin, right? So well, hash rate derivatives would be feasible, right? Yeah, well, efficient at least, right, with 6.0. Cryptographic applications and there is unfinished example of bulletproof range proof validation, so I've assigned a bounty for that issue. So if you want to play with cryptography, Ergo script, and also get some bounty, consider to finish this example. It's a bit tricky, but doable definitely from what I've checked. So I've made half of it, and found that the rest is using basically the same operations which are added along with a new unsigned big integer type needed for cryptographic applications along with modular arithmetics. Another thing aside of new features and so on is possibility in the node to vote for new parameters without breaking previous versions of the nodes, or maybe versions of the nodes not recognizing such voting rights. So you can do maybe some velvet forking kind of voting rights from 6.0, and in particular 6.0 nodes also do recognize a new parameter, which is number of subblocks per block. With it, this parameter can be used further in the subblocks protocol to have miners having possibility to readjust number of subblocks per block, which is quite interesting, I believe, right? When miners would be capable to change frequency of subblocks pulsation, let's say. All right.
When should we start? When should we start pushing this out on socials to get at least the miners aware and the pool operators aware?
Right now. So I mean,
okay.
It's finalized, and so what's not finalized is activation details for mainnet, right? So for public testnet, I think we can do activation in 2 weeks, right? But yeah, literal 2 weeks. So the testnet is currently not that stable, right? So yeah, but when it will become.
Oh, we've got it there, right? We're just waiting for your node, I think. It's MGPy, myself, and
it's also Explorer node, so I need to check with mine what's going on with the Explorer node, right?
Right. You need to point testnet explorer to the new PyNet.
Yeah, but the testnet explorer is so it's looking at mine's node.
Yeah.
And then there is need to fix things. There maybe your peers are banning the nodes. Let's see. So, but yeah, I guess it's about 1 to 2 days anyway, right? And then I need to do some more tests, in form of code, and also manual tests in devnets I'm running regularly. 6.0 devnets. Then propose public testnet activation, and then at the same time we can talk with miners about mainnet activation details, right? And as a reminder, after beginning of voting, at least 3 months would be needed for activation. All right, so first it would be 32 epochs of 1024 blocks each for voting, right? And in case of super majority achieved, not just super majority, 90+%, right? So super majority is usually associated with 66% plus. So in case of 90+% support, there is also 32 epochs again delay for activation, right? To give a possibility for everyone to update. So yeah, in total it's 64 epochs, 1024 blocks each. So yeah, about 3 months. Yeah, and then we will have 6.0 activated, and at the same time, so during those 3 months, actually, we can work on subblocks, right? Because it's sublocks probably would be deploy it in few steps, right? And some soft forkish update for miners would be needed only at the last step, right? And they can be deployed in kind of velvet fork way before. It would be good to consider what to do after, right? So basically from mid 2025 and so on, right? So already a lot of talks, a lot of proposals were pushed, but yeah, there is need to consider. I mean, what to do and in what form. So I think the general vector could be to decentralize rights development for more. Definitely, as well as communities also definitely becoming more and more decentralized in regards with every aspect we can think of. Right. And then, started, so as I discussed, started Ergo book, and now Joe is going also to contribute. So hopefully some parts, but yeah, I'm actually thinking to publish like article by article, right, on the forum. So maybe the first piece likely will be published this week, right? So just a few days after 6.0 proposal. And so with Ergo book, the idea, is to get material from different members of Ergo movement, Ergo community, right, to become a leader, right, in conceptualizing what we do know about cryptocurrencies, right, as a form of money, as peer-to-peer networks and so on, and then how those concepts are realized in Ergo, right? So from philosophical aspects going to technical, and then going maybe deeper and then to get some picture, right, of what's Ergo protocol and ecosystem around is about, right, and maybe trying to achieve. All right.
It looks like we got a sneaky guest when you were talking, Kishti.
It's actually the spider that's sitting on the wall there for the past hour and a half. I don't like killing spiders, so that guy's taking advantage of the situation. So nice to see you, Charlie Rose, aka QX.
It's great to see you too, Dan.
For those of you who are too young to know this, so Charlie Rose is a journalist, an old school journalist, and he would conduct all of his interviews with a black background like this. It was very, I guess it was very much like his brand to do all his interviews with this black background. So that's why I keep calling QX Charlie Rose, and he's just like looking at me like, what?
No, I know Charlie Rose.
You know Charlie?
Of course, I know Charlie Rose.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Just because give me this blank face, like I don't even know what the hell. Anyway, So I mean, I walked into this really interesting conversation here. Now, another interesting conversation. Actually, you mentioned Joe, and it just kind of it's kind of funny, how narratives and how people just kind of jump into these, like, I mean, I don't want to say just pure hype, because there is quite a bit of interesting tech behind Bitcoin OS, but the community and our community as well as the Cardano community, and of course the communities are mixed, really jumped on this like Bitcoin OS is going to bring so much liquidity, and it's just going to bring it's going to bring all of Bitcoin onto Cardano and Ergo, and it's just going to be awesome. We're just going to be swimming in liquidity. It's going to be so liquid out here. It's going to be like Solaris, like the ocean planet. And well, I mean, it could, but we already Ergo already made something like this that works really, really well. It's called Rosenbridge. I keep talking about it on socials, and it's just interesting that we do get quite a bit of recognition for Rosen. I think Rosen is one of the more popular Ergo projects, I think, in the Ergo Cardano ecosystem. On Cardano, many people know about Rosen versus, I guess, other projects that came out of Ergo. Maybe Splash, is one that rivals the popularity of Rosen. But Rosen is this, it's like pure Ergo tech, and I see this question down here. I don't know if you guys are well, Jume is telling us to better learn how to swim. Yeah, it's good. But let's see. So Bobcat, and I think actually Bobcat likes to ask this question every single on every single AMA, at least that I've been on. Or maybe it's not Bobcat, maybe it's somebody else, but we get this question quite a bit. Is actually I selected it. I don't know. Can you guys see it? I don't think you can see the questions I selected. Can you see them?
I gotcha. I put it there. It's from
okay.
FC.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know why I can't see it. Okay.
Not.
Anyway.
Where'd it go?
Actually, I probably because I'm not signed in. But anyway, select the one. Okay. Well, actually, this one as well. This one is interesting. But I was actually going to go to the one that just what are you looking towards in 2025? The Bobcat asked. There
you go, Dan. I switched
that one. Yeah. Well, but then we can go to the Bitcoin OS one because I'd like to hear Alex's input on this. And yours too, QX. Okay, don't feel like
it's fine. It's fine, Dan. It's fine in
the conversation here. Okay, yeah, you're important too, QX. Okay, don't cry. Much. What I'm looking towards in 2025 is. Big projects really realizing that it's already here, it's already built. The tech is here. There's no new sensational type of thing. There's like, oh my God, this is going to solve everything. It's already here, but you have to start utilizing. There has to be traffic. And I think one of the big plays for 2025 would be for some really nice, successful, and successful dApps and platforms that have a wide customer range, utilizing Rosen, bringing Rosen, onto their stack and utilizing it to serve between all these different ecosystems. And now, they got Runes, going to be bridging to Solana. They're going to be bridging to everywhere, bridging to the moon. What's the newest one? I forgot. What's the newest one for Rosen? What are they going to be bridging to?
What's it called? Binance, BNB.
BNB.
Dogecoin and Binance. Yeah, are the two new ones.
Doge, Doge and Binance. Anyway, it's here. The tech is here. It's time to utilize it. And I think our focus is, and I think what's going to happen in 2025 is more and more projects will realize that, well, wait a second, I need to do this now. Who has the tech now? Rosen has the tech now. Right now, you can do it. Right now, I can move assets between Cardano and Ergo, and I can move assets between Bitcoin and Cardano and so on. I can do it right now. And so that's why we're going to be utilizing, and with Palm Economy, we're going to be utilizing Rosen because we can do all of this stuff. We have the necessity to make it cross-chain. We need to be able to move these assets between Cardano, Ergo, Bitcoin, EVM. Because we have some commitments to move some of the stuff to EVM, and the tech is here, and the tech is the most practical for it. So it's all about these. It's all about really not just kind of ringing the bell, look, here it is, but actually getting these projects, the big projects, to say to look at it and say, hey, this solution exists. We should utilize it. We will utilize it, and getting to utilize it. And that's what I see what I see is happening in 2025. More and more projects really kind of getting it. So yeah, I just wanted to go to that question because that was really on my mind after all this stuff with Bitcoin OS. Because I guess people want to see liquidity. And you want to see liquidity. You want to see life on chain. And they think that Bitcoin will bring that more of that life on chain. Whether it will or won't remains to be seen, but they think it will. And actually, I would like to get Alex's in yours QX. Well, okay, yours QX and Alex's input on the difference because I'm sure that people have asked, how is it different? Is it the same tech or is it different tech? So I don't know which one he wants to go first, but maybe he should answer that.
Right. QX, maybe.
Yeah. Me? Sure. Well, first of all, in the social scene, I attribute that Bitcoin OS hype, and then pretty quick. What's the opposite of hype? I don't know, but that happened all in a week or two. Drama on Twitter, right? I attribute that to everything's experience of pump. Cardano and Ergo both recently experienced quite a pump in their in their sex value, at least. So everybody's
lives.
Yes, everybody's frothing at the mouth, right? And then along comes this other promise of the promise of more liquidity flowing in and higher values there. So people immediately jump on the train for that without even thinking or looking or reading into it or anything. And then they come out with a oh yeah, we're gonna fundraise, here's a token, and everybody's like, oh, that's awful, you guys are awful, that kind of thing. So that was funny to watch with popcorn from the sidelines, that's for sure. But from what I understand, right here, I'll give my stupid explanation, and Kushti can correct everything that I'm wrong. So Rosen's a bridge, essentially. You lock tokens on one side, you release them on the other side. And Rosen's unique and special because it uses this two-layer approach with watchers and guards. Watchers first see the transaction, report it, guards verify that transaction, then do a consensus and release it on the other side. There's never any minting of tokens. It's not like a live mint. The tokens, the supply is minted and locked right off the bat. So there's no way you can continuously leak and mint more tokens on Rosen like that. Whereas Bitcoin OS, I believe, is more like a programmable layer. It's its own thing where you can have kind of trustless relays. Like I think Kushti, you made one recently as a proof of concept back in the couple months ago. To be able to report transactions on another chain from Bitcoin. But that's my understanding of it. Kushti, please correct me.
So you can use trustless relay to bring Bitcoin to Ergo, right? But the other way, it doesn't work because, you cannot build Ergo relay on Bitcoin. Right. Bitcoin is too limited for that. So then, you can do different tricks such as, Bitcoin OS way to verify ZK snarks, it's complicated, right? And it's not audited, not well tested, and so on. And it's also not even quite new, right? So, Bitcoin community is considering using snarks. In Bitcoin, along with Bitcoin scripts in form of contingent payments, for example, since 2015, right? So the first presentation was done at Financial Cryptography 2015. It's stuff quite complicated. So the original scheme presented at Financial Cryptography 2015 was shown found to be insecure in some paper from 2017. That paper proposed a fix, paper by Alexander Chiesa and others. I have forgotten its name, but then the proposed fix even was corrected in another follow-up paper. So well, and about this Bitcoin OS, they way to well, optimistically verify snarks. Well, I personally would wait for I don't know, another 5 years, right, to have dust settled down around all that. I mean, just from my observation of previous attempts to build stuff like that. Yeah, so contingent payments were used even in simpler contexts, like so the original showcase was pay for Sudoku solution, right? So payment for, well, proving for a proof of some well, computationally hard challenge solution. All right. But yeah, even in that simple setting, well, things are quite complicated, and Bitcoin OS is more complicated, and well, the white paper is not that detailed, let's say, right? So well, it's just very briefly touching details, and well, still efficiency is not quite clear, and then execution in the presence of network congestion and so on, right? And then well, about how well all those things are implemented, from snarks to scripts on Bitcoin, and what are possible attacks and so on. So it's still not quite clear to start with. And Rosen, it's just multi-sig on Bitcoin side, right? And well, it's maybe not that fancy, but it's quite clear how it's working, at least, right, on the Bitcoin side. And then on the Ergo side, there is another layer of protection, which is about watchers.
And guards.
Guards, but guards are co-signing on Bitcoin, right? And well, in case of anything happening there, so you have second layer on Ergo, second layer.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yep.
So I mean, it's then I mean, simple and working, at least, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Rosenbridge, Arminio and the Rosen team are getting near their Hummingbot implementations, and they're putting out a channel soon on Telegram, and they're going to use it as an educational kind of thing where people come in, they learn about it, they run it, they test it, and they get very knowledgeable about how to run your own Hummingbot. I mean, that's one of the things that, I mean, everybody wishes for some big angel to come in and dump liquidity everywhere and trade everywhere and hold our hands and make us feel good like some savior or messiah. But when it comes down to it, guys, it's us. Like, we have the power to take, even if you have like 200 ergs, it doesn't matter. Grab this Hummingbot, jump in the channel when it's made, learn how to use it, arbitrage across the ecosystems, across the exchanges, and make a couple ergs along the way, just from running something easily on your computer. And that will provide liquidity. That'll help provide liquidity across different pockets, different enclaves, whether it be Ethereum, Binance, Doge, Cardano, Bitcoin, anything like that. So it's up to us, guys. I feel like sometimes I feel like we're sitting in this advanced cathedral with all these amazing scientific tools in front of us in the year 4000, and we're sitting there looking at these tools and be like, oh, that's cool. Let's poke it. That's neat. But when's somebody going to come along and build this for us and do this for us? It's like the tools are there, guys. We have everything we need. And there's plenty of us. There's 12 some thousand people in the Telegram chat alone. There's plenty of us to be able to pick up something and use it and make a difference. So, I mean, we're talking hundreds of people run these humming bots for Roads and Bridge with their implementation of it. And you're going to see a big difference in liquidity across exchanges and dexes. So, yeah. So watch out for that, guys. Please join the Telegram chat when Roads and Bridge sets it up. Don't be afraid to jump in there and use Hummingbot. Ask questions. I'll be running one. I just got some loose ergs from a reimbursement for running some servers. So I have those I can put in, and we can provide liquidity across the spectrum, guys. So don't be afraid. We're here to hold each other's hands.
So you're that liquidity provider that's going to just come and provide liquidity everywhere.
No, I only have like 300
just go
ergs
around
left,
and liquidity everything.
I only have like 300 ergs, but I'll put it all towards Hummingbot. No problem.
Yeah, 300 ergs times 300.
No, everything else is in ecosystem projects.
Right.
Yeah, I also think to provide some more liquidity, it seems there are some options which are not realized yet. Even CQSD to GAU liquidity pool, right? But yeah, it's very natural, I guess, liquidity pool to profit from arbitrage, because dependless on crypto markets conditions, so you have independent movements of gold price against USD, right? So then yeah, it's kind of crypto independent way to profit from arbitrage,
right?
And yeah, it's still not there, surprisingly. So I will do that. So I even tried, but got some errors before because of something with spectrum of chain bots. That there was something when trying to create liquidity pools on certain clients, but yeah, well, now it's probably resolved, so yeah, you need to try again.
All right, what else we got here?
All right, well, yeah, we actually got so this is actually a term that's been floating around. We love to say demurrage. Demurrage. Yeah. So we love to use the word demurrage, but the mirage of demurrage. But I think a lot of people are missing context here. So why don't you, QX, explain this like you would to a 5-year-old?
All right.
Basically, yourself.
Awesome. Demurrage to a 5-year-old. Let's see. Demurrage. Well, first of all, demurrage is one of the coolest things about Ergo. Super, super cool. It's also one of the most misunderstood things about Ergo when people come in. So explaining like a 5-year-old. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's say that the 5-year-old has a bunch of toys, right? And you like to play with your toys, right? You have your trains, you have your Legos, you have everything. All right. So,
right.
You put those toys in, every time you put it away, you put it in a little baggie, and you throw it in your little protective coating, and you throw it in your chest, your box outside. All right. Every time you want to play with it or do it, you have to get it out of that little baggie, play with it, put it back in the little baggie, and set it there. But let's say you don't play with toys for quite a while, right? They take up space in that chest, and it's hard for your dad to move that chest around and put it in the basement or put it upstairs for you and do that. So it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. So what you can do to help prevent that, there are two things. You can either take all the toys out and put them in one bag and maybe store that bag in an easier place. and then there's more room in the chest. Or you can, your dad can get really pissed at you for having so many toys, and he can take a few of those toys in the small bags that you haven't touched in a long, long time, and essentially throw them out. So that's maybe a 5-year-old could understand that. I don't know. That may have been too simply and missing a little bit of the point. But here's a 12-year-old's explanation. So blockchains get bloat, right? We know that from watching other chains who lost their history and struggling to find it, and chains that get massively bloated, right? And bloat leads to centralization. You have Solana nodes that are so massive and require so much throughput that people are running them on centralized clusters like in Amazon or Azure. So that is not decentralized. That's not somebody like Dan or Kushti or myself who could just spin up a node in our basement or on our spare computer, right? So keeping a node pruned and small is going to encourage decentralization on small devices. Okay, so in order to do that, Ergo in the base code says that, hey, if you have these boxes, right, where UTXO, so every transaction into your wallet goes in its own little box. You can never add to that box. If you want to use the tokens in that box, you have to spend the box, which then takes money and puts it in somebody else's wallet in a box and brings the change back to your little another new box in your thing. All right. So in order to make sure the blockchain is small, excuse me, anything after 4 years of just sitting there, not doing anything. And when I say 4 years, I mean 4 years in block time. Just sitting there not doing anything will be able to allow to be collected a small amount of rent from it. All right. And what this does is it's not necessarily, it's two-factor, right? You're collecting rent from people who aren't doing anything, who are just storing things on chain and not moving it around, right? So it could be a miner that has 10,000 boxes of one erg that they've been mining for a long, and just sitting there for 4 years, or it could be dust from something, airdrop, or tokens that were distributed, or even a miner that just has too small erg sitting around. Okay, so that takes up bloat on the blockchain. So Demirage at that point, if the amount of erg in the box is too small for the rent cost, the whole box is taken and destroyed. So now we've cleaned up the chain of all this dust that's just out there. That amount is called storage rent. It goes to the people mining it. They can wrap it in a transaction and spend it and bring it to the mining pool or the person mining it. If there's enough erg to cover that rent, then the box is just recreated with a change, with the storage rent taken out of it, and it's put back there. But overall goal, ELI 12, is that it's meant to prevent bloat on a blockchain, which helps with decentralization, essentially. My wife just brought me a sandwich. Look at that homemade bacon egg sandwich, guys.
Are you going to Demirage that sandwich?
It's going to take some storage rent off it right now, guys.
Yeah, you're going to take storage rent. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, you're actually going to eat while you're doing an AMA. You college student. All right. So, well, I hope that helped.
People get afraid. People get afraid of Demirage or storage rent because they're like, somebody's taking stuff from my wallet. I hear a lot of FUD sometimes from like 2 specific people on Twitter. That's like, oh, I don't like Ergo because the devs can just take all my money. And what they don't understand is that, you need a 90% consensus to do any sort of that kind of change in that consensus mechanism there to do that. Absolutely insane thought. I mean, why would miners vote against their own interests to be able to rape everybody's wallet that way? It makes no sense. It's just FUD and misunderstandings. It's one of the best tools out there for a chain to reduce bloat. I know, Kushti, you said Ethereum had thought about it for a while, or other chains have thought about implementing it in a while, but
so actually Ethereum community started to discuss storage rent, and actually the term was taken from Ethereum community, right? Not Demirage, which is known in theory of money, right, and economics, but storage ran. So yeah, it was taken from Ethereum community, and they're discussing it since 2015 actually. So because it's quite clear that you know, it's not fair and quite broken economy in Ethereum. Yeah, also Bitcoin and basically every blockchain, right? When you can create some object on a blockchain, such as unspent outputs or smart contract in case of Ethereum and so on, right? And then yeah, it lives forever. So it lives yeah, on thousands of computers in peer-to-peer network, but yeah, it's been paid once and then living forever, which is well, totally unrealistic and also unfair, right? So, I mean, there is no any example, I believe, where you can pay once for storage and then occupy it forever, right? It's simply counter-economical. And yeah, also, well, when we are talking about real-world assets such as gold, well, any commodity, so you are paying, right, for storage. Well, it's basically the same. There is some cost to hold your gold. A brick of gold in a gold vault, right? Or well, to store well any commodity you have in a warehouse, such as I don't know, wheat, coffee, whatever, right? So you need to pay for storage. The same in the digital world. So you're occupying bytes and thousands of machines. Bytes of the memory, then you are not paying anything. Then yeah, well, in Ethereum it's even worse because that smart contract is living forever. It's occupying yeah, memory, some well, critical indices and so on. Then yeah, they are well asking for using suicide command. That there is such instruction when contract is not needed. You can free you can mark that it's not used anymore, right? And free memory basically. But well, as you need to pay gas for such command, it's not been used. So it's like a nice command in Linux. So it's nice, but no one is nice. No one is using it.
I think,
and then yeah, and that nonsense about devs capable to charge, I don't know, that's completely nonsensical. So in comparison with all the proof of work cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin actually it's harder in Ergo because well, again 90% voting is well, it's not even possible with soft fork, right? So you need to do hard fork because I don't see any way to do this in a soft fork. And well, as we are not doing, we are avoiding hard forks, especially such controversial, then yeah, I mean, it's the least issue in Ergo, right, in comparison with other proof of work currencies, but Bitcoin, because I'm not aware about well, changing protocol by voting anywhere but Bitcoin and Ergo, right? Because well, in Ethereum it always was about devs team setting something in the code, right, and then just ordering miners to update the nodes and yeah, participate in that.
Or else.
Yeah, so in that way they even fired miners after all. But the same is all other proof of work blockchains, right? So it's usually about developers just providing a new version and well, telling miners to install it, and that's why it actually was quite hard to work with miners, right, on all that stuff, voting and so on, to well ask them to what provide information, and then wait for the action, because usually you know what they do expect is basically the same as happening everywhere. So developers just come in and providing a new version, and yeah, they're just running a new version of not software for, well, another shitcoin, you know, without thinking much what's going on there. Because I mean, who cares about some shitcoin, you know, and what's happening there? I mean, the only reason for them, for miners, for mining pool to be there is just to mine and then dump, right, and then jump on another spec mining or Bitmain controlled shitcoin. And so yeah, I mean, because of that, well, attitude, well, it's quite hard to you know, push miners to make decisions even, right, about what
it's tough.
they're working on. So yeah, I mean, that's that's quite I don't know, weird, you know. So I mean, when you push you know, people around to get more power, you know, so usually, yeah, I mean, people are grabbing power, right? And here is the opposite situation.
I think anybody looking on from the outside to the in would see demirage storage rent as proof that Ergo has been created and thought of for the long term and sustainability. So that's my number one thought when I think of storage rent, and when I talk to other people about it. If you're serious into crypto and you see it as a financial power tool for the individual, and you look at how these things were built and thought of, you look at Ethereum and you're like, how the fuck is this supposed to sustain for you know, this thing, or Solana even? Like, goodness, they're going to have countries running these nodes kind of thing. And you look at Ergo and you're like, this was really thought out, and this was thought out for sustainability. This was thought out for decentralization, and storage rent just proves that right there, right off the bat, that was the case.
Yeah, actually, I love that cathedral analogy very much, and also, well, thought about writing a text on that, right? Because, well, cathedrals, well, considered as example of something well thought, right? I believe Linux community maybe is using the same analogy, but need to check actually. So it's something when you can build for centuries, right? And you are not breaking what was built before. You are just building new parts, well, nearby, right? And connecting with existing parts. And well, with centuries, it's becoming well, even more solid, right, and well, even more beautiful. So yeah, that's what should be the goal here, right? So building a cathedral, not speculative or spec mining or whatever speculative one-day story, right?
Yeah.
So that was the goal always, implicitly. But yeah, maybe there is need to also, well, somehow explicitly state it at some point, I believe.
All right, Dan, what else we have? You see any other questions that pique your interest?
Yeah, let's do one more. So this is actually, you know, I think this kind of aligns well with what you were saying about, you know, the 90% of the time it works every time with the devs. So here's a question: Bitcoin is not set in stone for max supply. Do you think Ergo max supply will ever get voted to change? Well, so let's start with, can it be voted to change? Can it?
Not quite actually, because it's not part of the protocol even, right?
Yeah.
So well, it's
not a token.
So it's set. Ergo emission is set in form of contract, right? So unlike all other cryptocurrencies, you cannot just change some constant in the code, right? Like, for example, Ravencoin did, Ethereum did, right? Many cryptocurrencies actually did, right? So here you need to somehow change how contracts are executed and change I don't know, in a very deep way. So it would be harder than in Bitcoin, definitely, but even in Bitcoin, as far as I know, so that they're considering very tricky ways to bypass emission, right? There are different proposals, but all of them are doing some tricky things to avoid breaking everything. And in Ergo, the first question is whether it's needed at all, right? Considering that there is storage rent. So maybe, if storage rents in like 20 years wouldn't play out that well to provide enough rewards, right? Or if there will be problem with smoothness of rewards and so on, maybe it would be better to tweak storage ranges, right? Like was already proposed by Eugen, member of the community, to put storage rent to some pool, right? And then pay from that pool like from emission contract. So just pay a certain fixed amount of ERC per block. There are also proposals to have automatic auctions, right, for tokens collected, and then put ERCs raised from auctions to the same pool, for example, right? There are different, let's say, DeFi tools, right, for financial schemes, which can be used to provide smooth rewards, right, to miners when emission is out. Storage rents probably would provide enough, right, especially considering tokens and so on in like 20 years when emission will be finished. But in case of any issues here, because it's hard to plan, right, such things in the first place. You don't know what will happen with UTXO state in 20 years. In this case, there are many tools repurposing storage rent. So instead of miners just charging it, send it to some pool, right, which is paying miners fixed amount of ERC per block. Doing those auctions, storage rent parameters can be changed, but only within some range. So miners cannot raise storage rent significantly. The maximum raise is just 2x of default and current value. And so on, right? So there is enough tooling to avoid doomsday scenario, which is about changing emission, I believe. But there are different opinions here for sure. So Ethereum guys changed emission, I don't know, 2 or 3 times already, and probably we will do for more. But to me, it's very critical thing which shouldn't be changed, because when you change such things as total supply, then you are kind of breaking markets right around, which are already operating on known public information about emission, and that's what makes cryptocurrencies beautiful, right? So you have perfectly known public information about total emission schedule and so on. And so when you are breaking such things, it's not that good story. It could be needed maybe in some cases, and some communities decided to change emission. Monero, for example, introduced tail emission, right? And then Ethereum changed the reward per block a few times, but it's better to avoid such things at all costs.
Right. I mean, it's changing the assumptions of a chain. I look at it the same way as other chains who are talking about implementing storage rent, right? You're changing the assumptions and agreements when miners started mining your chain and started, or users started utilizing your chain. You're changing the agreement on the smart contracts written that don't take into account any sort of future storage rent or anything like that. So it's a huge like rug pull, I would say, on those members.
Yeah. So in Ergo, it's there since day one. So it's if you ever used Ergo, so you've agreed to storage rent, right, already, and it's not changed. Even parameters are still the same as 5 years ago. But if you are going to introduce storage rent to a blockchain which doesn't have it, then it's also a huge deal, right? It's breaking a lot of things on many levels. But so in Bitcoin community there are discussions about possibility to introduce storage rent now. Maybe the next civil war in the Bitcoin community would be about that, right? So would be about, previous one was about just one constant block size, right? Whether to set it to 2 megabyte, 4 megabyte, 8 megabyte, unlimited size, or do what's Bitcoin Core did, so some magic with SegWit and so on. Then the next civil war could be about what to do with emission, right? So storage rent or tail emission. So introducing new changing emission schedule, basically, right, by introducing tail emission, or just leave things intact. There are maybe other options. So the next civil war probably could be about that.
QX, we don't need no civil war.
No, we don't.
Yeah, but in Ergo, so actually, one of the motivation to have all those wordings, right, for parameter block size, for that sort of for forkability, was to avoid civil wars in the Ergo community, right? So, if you don't like block size, then just reach miners and tell them to what. Maybe they will listen to you. Maybe not, but there is no need for dramas, right, in the community. So just work with miners and try to change the protocol in the way you like. I mean, it's always possible, and no one is preventing that. But also there is no need to push others, right, to do changes you would like to have. So just work on your own, or find friends and work with them.
Dan, you've been very quiet, and Wambo's noticed that. I think you have a question right here. Wambo's got a question. Dan, could you speak a bit about your video on Catamarca lithium facility?
Yeah. Well, I can speak a lot about it, and I will.
I think he said a little. He said a little bit, Dan. He said.
A little, a lot. I'll speak a lot. about it in the coming days. I'm actually going to Argentina on Sunday again for 2 weeks this time. And so there's actually going to be a continuation of this work. But it was an interesting experience, very interesting. It's one of those things where you talk about all these things that we can do with blockchain, especially in an RWA sector and, IoT, RWA and traceability and all this stuff. And then you go there and you see that they need it. And I mean, bad. It's a huge facility, and it makes. I mean, I think they put like $1 billion into it or something like that. It's some obscene amount of money, right? And there are such inefficiencies, and not just there. I mean, it's just in general. There's such inefficiency, such opaqueness. And it hurts. It hurts the production. I mean, it hurts profits because opaqueness is bad for efficiency. And when you don't have efficiency, you get bad ROI. You can get more ROI. And just seeing all of this really kind of opened my eyes even more to the fact that this could all be, like Winter Protocol, for example, again, built on Ergo. For those of you who still don't know, because every couple of weeks I'll get one of those questions where people will ask me, so are you building anything on Ergo? Like, we literally built everything on Ergo so far. Like, literally the whole platform is on Ergo so far. So yeah, Alex knows because Alex has seen it,
Yeah, I mean, I'm reviewing contracts currently, and they're definitely on Ergo. I mean, my eyes, yeah, I mean, the work more or less. So so it's definitely about Ergo.
So and going there and seeing how we can really help the real world with Ergo tech. I mean, that is, I mean, to me, that is actually just really cool and validating. It's kind of validates the whole thing that we are on the right track. So there's going to be a lot more actually coming out from there in the next week or so. You'll see we got a big unveiling happening next week. So again, this is another asset that can be potentially that will be utilizing Ergo for tokenization. So it was a very interesting experience, and I hope to I know we will have an impact over there with the technology and with what we have to offer. So that was a little bit.
That was a good XLL response.
Yeah, I hope that was a little bit, a little enough of bit.
Perfect. Oh, we got another question. I want to answer this one. What would you guys do when Ergo hits $50? Happy Thanksgiving. So personally, you'd see no change from me. I'd still be doing everything that I'm doing here. All my Ergo and project tokens would still be sitting in my wallet. It would make no difference to me. What it would make a difference to is the Sigmanauts treasury, allowing us to have more reach, have more function, have more, be able to hire more people, be able to do more promotions. It would turn our, literally 50 times our treasury. So that'd be amazing for the Sigmanauts treasury, the decentralized DAO there, in our outreach and our ability to function. Personally, it'd make no difference in my daily function here at all. So I don't know about you guys.
So your wife will still be bring you sandwiches during AMAs?
My wife brings me sandwiches at $1.50 or $1.70, $1.85. My wife will bring me sandwiches at $50. Correct.
Wow.
The same.
All right. So for me, probably, just remembering when it was about 20, so probably my ass would be grilled a lot around those days because, I mean, during price appreciation, you just have more issues to resolve, and also communication channels are getting busier and busier, so like
the social,
Yeah, well, not social. I mean, a lot of people are reaching to DMs. So, well, yeah, I don't know. So, back in 20, yeah, it was kind of disaster. But yeah, I mean, just recently, I found some messages, not from $20 days, but later during Ethereum merge. That's Ergo is invited to get listed on some exchange, but yeah, there is need to discuss some, I don't know. And yeah, it's for free, but there is need for some marketing budget, and
It's free, but
yeah.
Central exchanges are the Rumpelstiltskins of the world.
Yeah, I just discovered that I don't know, weeks ago, so 2 years after. So yeah, and I guess if it would be 50, then yeah, Telegram would be not quite usable because of such wonderful offers. To discuss anything with 100 exchanges and yeah, marketing agencies and yeah, whoever. Then yeah, a lot of new developers willing to come and yeah, just sending you DMs for some reason instead of, I don't know, reading documentation around and so on. Maybe reach public chat. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's yeah, the S will be grilled a lot simply. But yeah, I mean, that's part of life. So
yeah. I mean, nothing would change except for, have some gold chains. I'd be sitting in my own jet.
Of course,
I'd have
Dan.
a couple more wives.
I hope your wife's asleep right now.
Yeah, she's not. I would be sending pizzas with questionable toppings to QX's house, COD. Yeah. I mean, that's about it. Yeah, I get Alex a wireless version of those headphones.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but that's
everybody knows wired is better, Dan. Wired is much better.
Yeah, if you say so, Grandpa.
I do.
Anyway, yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's a good place to leave it off. So everybody's, we're bull answering, bull questioning. So yeah, good AMA, guys. Well, good AMA,
fun.
Alex. Okay, AMA QX.
I'll take an okay.
Yeah, that's an improvement. It's like if you shared that sandwich, it would have been better, but you can't and you won't.
Don't forget, guys.
Anyway, guys, everybody who celebrates, happy Thanksgiving. Out here we don't celebrate, so they did in recent years they have assimilated the commercial side of Thanksgiving, Black Friday. So now we actually have Black Friday in Japan, but no Thanksgiving, just Black Friday.
Do people die like they do in the U.S. at Black Fridays in Japan?
Not
get stampeded.
Not like that, but they do. But actually, we have this. It's so Black Friday is kind of like the Japanese like retailers like, oh, Black Friday, oh, people buy lots of stuff. We make too. It's like it was like, but actually out here we have so on January 1st. They're always it's called fukubukuro. So it's basically like a gift bag, right? And all these stores have these special fukubukuro, which is basically like something that's, I don't know, like limited edition or super cheap or something like that, right? So you have that in the U.S. with Black Friday where people line up at like 2 a.m. to get like $100 50-inch TV or something like that, right? Out here, they have the same thing. They line up for these fukubukuro from all these stores and they'll spend like $200 on Fukubukuro, and supposedly it's like this, like all this stuff that's worth like $1,000 or something, and it's always limited. So we already have that, but now we have Black Friday, but we don't have turkey, except for Costco. And then the problem with Costco turkeys is that most Japanese houses don't have ovens, and you can't fit a turkey in a conventional oven. So
No.
like I always see them, and they're expensive as shit too. They're about like $60-$70.
That's why
$80.
you deep fry that stuff out on your front yard or the sidewalk.
Yeah, well, I think my neighbors would have something to say about that, but yeah, it's an interesting experience. So, like I said, everybody, happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate. For those who don't celebrate, happy whatever. Yeah, and so until next time, right? Same place, same channel, same. Some of the same people.
Black Friday is coming, right?
Tomorrow, Friday. Yeah. Is that tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. So the Black Friday is everywhere here as well, but yeah, I mean now it's going to be quite strange because it seems that the whole November is now going to be Black Friday because some sellers are starting sales.
This is something that you can get on Black Friday. Actually, I was digging. The reason why I got the blur background on here is because my sugar gliders went loose in my room and just like trashed it. So, but
wait, how does a 5-ounce animal trash your room, Dan?
Indeed. I mean, the thing is as big as a hamster. 4 of them, like, and I came in here, I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what happened in here? It looks like a freaking cheetah went loose in here. It was crazy. So I haven't had a chance to clean it up. That's why. But in the process, for some reason, I now remember that I have it. I found this. Yeah. So this is the Soviet Medal of Labor. It was given to only the finest factory workers of the Soviet Union.
Wow, where'd you get it from?
Okay. So I got it from Georgia. Actually, I was thinking about it, like it's randomly in a bag with a little booklet, with a little the Soviet booklet. Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's it says veteran of labor on it. And so this is from the 80s actually, and I bought it in Georgia. In Tbilisi years ago, and so I found this, right? So if you work hard enough, maybe someday you'll have this. But for the time being, I am keeping this medal.
You should put it up on the Mu Finance Physical NFT site and sell it.
There we go.
You know what? Speaking of that, maybe if you guys are lucky and you check out Mu Finance tomorrow, maybe you'll see some Black Friday deals on a few token packs. Maybe, if I remember.
From Sigmanauts?
Well, from my own thing. I'll put some up there. Let me shake my loose wallets and we'll see what's in there. Maybe I can sell some discounted project tokens.
Right. All
right. Well, maybe it's time to go. So I guess same time, same place, same channel.
Don't forget the spaces tomorrow with House of Chimera, and we'll announce that on Twitter in a bit as soon as we see it.
Yeah.
All right,
everybody. Going to get details. Yeah, will be announced once I've got them.
Great.
Happy Thanksgiving,
everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Bye. This is Dan from Japan, signing off.
The way we can do that is I type in